All right, so let's dive straight into this gist. We use it to warm up. We'll also see if we can learn one or two things from this particular gist. All right, so walk with me, walk with me. All right, I'm gonna keep it light, okay? But you know how we do it here. So there's a woman. There's a woman. She was basically explaining how her ex has been missing in action. Um, he let her. Um, okay, so she's the guy, the husband, right? Basically left, abandoned, no communication, nothing is completely missing in action, and she's basically doing everything all by herself. Then out of the blue, some guy, there was a conversation going on, and some guy just out of the blue just came out of where is that, hey, whether you like it or not, the kids will look for their father. Okay. So it was actually one of the pop the balloon stories. One of the ladies that come there, you know how they tell their sub stories and stuff like that. So now, hearing that, I'm sure your mind will, if you've been a part of this show here from time to time, I'm sure your mind will go jim like what are you talking about? In my mind, too, I was a little bit. I knew that that's a ticking time bomb in many men's lives. Is going to it will shock them. Okay. All right. Now, obviously, to every rule, there's an exception, but I believe strongly that many people are going to be shocked. So now a story came in that's very similar to that, and I was like, okay, maybe it's time that we talk about this. All right. So there's so much packed into this particular story that I'm about to share with you. So now she's been in the relationship for 13 years, 13 years, a whole 13 years, and they have kids together. In fact, she experienced miscarriages. She experienced during moments of pregnancy where she felt like the guy was not there. Gentlemen, I tell you this all the time. I don't know if you've heard me say it. Try not to offend your woman when she's pregnant. It's going to be hard for her to come back from it. It's just that much harder. Okay. So also there were many promises that were made that were never fulfilled, either because of his own doing, neglect, or maybe just life. But that's what happens, because already in life, there's going to be times that you're not going to be your full self, or you keep promises to your wife that you can't keep. So if in addition to all of that, you also don't know how to behave, it's problematic. Okay. So nobody is perfect, but in addition to that, you have coconut head. It's a problem. So while she was giving her heart, her soul, her body, her youth, according to her, to this man, he was also out there also engaging other women, you know, not just engaging other women. As a matter of fact, he's had babies with a couple of other women. He's had babies on her, essentially. Yeah. So, and some of these other women, they're also very much just as engaged as she is in this guy's life. So he's essentially keeping a very, what you call, unofficial polygamy. Okay. So he didn't marry any one of them, including her. But, you know, but now I'm sure you're thinking, like, why wouldn't she just leave? Right? Why would she stay with somebody like that? We're talking about a situation where people might be manipulated, okay, to stay in a situation, okay, not feel manipulated, but actually being manipulated. We're talking about when people say, if you leave, who else is going to be with you, right? We have people might say, hey, have you looked yourself in the mirror? I've had people say, well, have you looked at yourself in the mirror? Who's going to marry you after 3, 4, 5, or after 2, after 1? Right? So those are all manipulative statements, gentlemen. Just in case you wonder, what is manipulation? I didn't mean to manipulate her. I was just upset. Well, if you say things like that on a consistent basis, you are a manipulator, essentially. So it will also say things like the kids will blame her if she dares separate from him. So those are all the kind of stuff that can happen. Like, sometimes we do these things in a very subtle way and we don't realize we're doing it. And oftentimes the people that are talking on the internet will say, you are pretending, you're a liar, you're a narcissist. So in your own head, you're like, I'm not a narcissist. Like, you're just disrespectful. You don't really see the little things that you say, right? that on the receiving end are essentially just manipulation. That's exactly what they are. So this particular guy I'm talking about, will say things like, "These kids will hate you if you separate from me." Now, so when it comes to proposing for marriage, he won't do it. When it comes to she needs to move on or something like that, of course, he's saying things like this to her. She's had a few babies with him, so of course, it's not the easiest thing to just leave that kind of situation. All right. So he basically, anytime you use fear as opposed to faith, hope, love, value to influence people, if you use fear to influence people, that's essentially controlling. Okay. So meanwhile, the guy is out here, floricane. I don't know the word. There's a word I'm trying to use. He's basically messing with other ladies. Okay. So now, the role as a father. What about his role as a father? Okay. Now he believes that he goes out there, brings in money once in a while, every once in a while, he spends times with the babies. So throughout those years, he wasn't really present as far as she's concerned. Okay. So at the very minimum, even if she wants to step out as a lady with her friends and stuff like that, she's the one that has to check on the schedule. And oftentimes, yeah, I'm at work, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Why? Because in our society, it's the woman that's expected to be there for the kids 100%. It's essentially like it's an obligation on the part of the woman than it is on the side of the men. This is not some stuff. This is not stuff that you have to say out loud. It's not stuff that you have to admit to, gentlemen. Because I know I can hear somebody saying, "No, no, but I'm always there for my children." Yeah, congratulations to you. You should be there for your children. But I'm talking about the societal expectations. It's expected that a woman, it's an obligation as opposed to a luxury, as opposed to, oh, it's a plus, right? I like you will hear people say, you're lucky that your husband is always there. Why should that be luck, right? Why can't that be, you know what? I'm there because those are my kids. So we know the society that we live in. So essentially, he never provided emotional support, didn't show up for them when they needed him the most. He only showed up when it was convenient. So by this point, the woman has had enough. She's tired of the broken promises, the manipulation, the fear. She's ready to break free, to finally live her life without all the emotional roller coaster. What time am I talking about? The kids are now 12, 15 years old, so she can breathe a little bit. The kids can actually babysit each other for a couple of hours. So, but then comes the ultimate blow, of course. In their final arguments, they had an argument that really broke the the final straw that broke the camel's back. See, I'm always struggling with my with my English. English is not my first language. You just go and rest, okay? Anyway, he go, whether you like it or not, because now she's trying to leave, right? So she's already showing signs, and he's afraid. Now he won't show it, of course, because there's no real evidence that she's going to leave. But there's a little small fear behind back. He could tell there's a little distance going on, right? So then he went on to repeat the very, very popular saying, whether you like it or not, my kids will look for their father. Now, why is he saying that? Right? Why is he saying that? Is she threatening to take the kids away? Maybe take them back to Africa or something? Well, they're 12 and 15 years old. This is the delusion here, right? There's a lot of delusion around this story. There's a lot of people that really think that blood is thicker than water. No, I'm dead as I swear. There are people that think that blood is thicker than water. They're everywhere, right? So, wait, what do you mean? Ola, isn't blood thicker than water? It is not. Maybe you're hearing that here for the first time. It is not. No, the physical blood, of course, if you can look at it, the way, water is obviously, but when we're talking about relationships, no, it is not. Okay. Blood is not just going to create relationship that doesn't exist. It doesn't make sense, right? So again, in their final argument, he basically uttered the very popular statement, the kids will look for their father. You can't take my kids away from, blah, 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 Now let's think about that for a second. What about all the damages, all those years? What about all those opportunities that were lost? Hmm? Relationships don't work like that. Being a parent is it's a little bit more than just a title. Okay, I don't want to call it a job. It should be something of a joy, right? As opposed to be a job. But I understand again with our social construct, a woman is supposed to be the one responsible when it comes to actual being there for the kids. She's supposed to be the nurturer, and she shouldn't have any other life outside of. Nobody say that out loud, but it's essentially what most people practice. Okay, so relationship is about earning the relationship through love, effort, time, and at least some sort of proximity. Because if you're around a lot, right, that also goes a long way. But it's not good enough just to be around. Obviously, you actually have to be a parent. This will go for a father or a mother, but in this story, we're talking about a father who is delusional. Who thinks once I get older, the kids will look for me. It's literally like a proverb. People just say it out without thinking. They literally spit it out of their ass. Okay, so now that the kids are older, unfortunately, they can make decisions for themselves. 12, 15, yes, they're now older. In fact, they're pretty indifferent. The worst thing with a person that you really want to have a relationship with is when they're indifferent. When they're like, it's not like they don't love you, but it's not like they don't really care if they don't see you for the rest of your life. It's happening. It's happening. So now she decided to move on. Anyway, she did make the final decision. She left him. You know, And then, of course, he went around town and continued to repeat one of the most popular things that people say. Now, the court had made some arrangements. He made sure that the court made some arrangements for custody arrangements. And unfortunately, the kids are not really, even though they have a 50-50, the kids are not really interested in spending time with him. Now, he starts telling everyone, of course, that their mother has been turning them against him. At least 90% of divorces, they have at least one partner who is uttering that nonsense. They're literally telling everybody that can hear it. Like, she's at least one side, like, oh, you're teaching my kids against me. You're teaching my kids against me. All right. So he starts to say that she's been manipulating them, that she's poisoning them against their own father. A man that did not invest in the relationship. Okay, at least from the result we're saying, the kids don't want to spend time with you. They're indifferent. They don't hate you, but they don't really care, right? They rather not deal. Okay, so the truth is that you can't really build trust with your children or anyone for that matter on fear, guilt, or manipulation. You can't. So you're perpetuating the same behavior by saying things like, oh, they manipulated your kids against you. When you repeat those type of statements, you're actually making it worse, because you're saying that the kids don't have a mind of their own. It's disrespectful, if anything. So it's like obvious. It's like, okay, it's no wonder why they don't want to spend time with you. You're repeating the same behavior, it's just showing up in a different form. You're being manipulative. These kids are simply making a decision based on the relationship or lack thereof, based on the type of relationship they have with you. So the children, they're not blind. They're not blind. They know what they're doing. But hey, by the way, if you're just coming in, hit the like button, share, subscribe, hit the like button. Thank you. I appreciate you. So years have passed, and the guy is still out there telling everybody, that he's been wronged, right? He's been wronged, that his kids has been turned against him. He resents her. He resents her family, because he's also trying to talk to all of them. They should help him talk to her, so that she can finally tell grown kids to like him enough to want to spend time with him. But deep down, don't we all know the truth? You think blood is thicker than water? You need to rethink that too. You can't abandon your responsibilities, especially you can't abandon your responsibilities, especially when we talk about children that are growing in their developing years, and expect everything to magically fall into place just because you're traditional. Because you say things like the kids will look for their own father. You're wrong. Obviously, you're wrong. Life doesn't work like that. Okay, so just like I gave that example here a few days ago, just like the Kirk Franklin story, the famous gospel rapper who was looking for the father. I know a lot of people see that they're like, oh, they will look for their father. You have a small chance, just like the Kirk Franklin story. You do have a small chance that a child might look for you, but that's only if they've never met you before. So out of curiosity, of course, they want to know their source. But even at that, there will never be a father. Go and ask Kirk Franklin. There will never be a father-child relationship. That's a void that's already been filled somehow, some way. Maybe not with the father, but somehow, some way, that void has been filled in other ways. And so here's the big question. I have a very big question for you guys. Do you think kids naturally seek out absentee parents when they get older? Or is the relationship you build from the start that truly matters? I want to know your thoughts about this. What are the exceptions? What I just laid out might sound like a rule, but there's exceptions to every rule, right? Do you think it's automatic? Okay. With that being said, I'm coming to the chats. I'm coming to the comment section. But that's the first thing I wanted to share with us today. Just to bring us up to speed, because the reality is that a lot of people are just delusional out there. All right. Dilly, shout out to Dilly. Dilly says, "Sheesh, me and my dad." That's sorry to hear that. So sorry to hear that, Dilly. But let me know your thoughts, everybody. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, turn up your notification. Tell me what the exceptions are. I think this is the rule. Relationship. What are the exceptions? All right. Without any further ado, we're just going to move on to the next segment of the show. I'll be right back.
Hey Prestige fam, show some love to the video. Hit like, subscribe, and share. Are you in Europe, America, and struggling in your relationship? From argument to abuse and trust issues, we're here to help.
Lola and I founded Prestige Marriage Academy to transform your story. With 20 years of friendship, 17 years of marriage, experience with navigating the ups and downs of marriage, and personalized coaching, includes 24/7 support. Ignorance is expensive. WhatsApp us at +1 732 305 8577 to book a free discovery session today and take charge now.
Don't wing it.
Join us in creating the love life you deserve.